Section 7C, Duty Titles and Special Positions. 7.7, Enlisted Duty Titles. When properly applied, duty titles facilitate a quick understanding of a person's role and level of responsibility. Enlisted duty titles are assigned based upon the scope of responsibility and the duties being performed. The following duty titles are the official, authorized duty titles for the enlisted force. Exceptions include special positions listed in AFH 36-2618, the Enlisted Force Structure, Chapter 5, and limited instances when a person's position or duties do not meet the established criteria. Supervisor. The title of supervisor is used for junior enlisted airmen and non-commissioned officers, NCO, who are the first-line supervisors, such as heavy equipment supervisors and shift supervisors. Junior enlisted airmen will not have the duty title of supervisor unless they are at least a senior airman, an Airman Leadership School graduate, and supervise the work of others. Non-commissioned officer in charge. The title of non-commissioned officer in charge, NCOIC, is used only for NCOs and SNCOs in charge of a work center or element. NCOICs typically have subordinate supervisors. The title of NCOIC is also used for those whose primary duty is a unit-wide program or management function, even if they do not directly supervise personnel. Section Chief. The title of Section Chief is used for NCOs and SNCOs in charge of a section with at least 2 subordinate work centers or elements. Section Chiefs are typically SNCOs, and the rank will vary depending on the size of the section. Flight Chief. The title of Flight Chief is used for NCOs and SNCOs who are the enlisted leaders of a flight. Flight Chiefs are typically SNCOs, and the rank will vary depending upon the size of the flight. Superintendent. The title of Superintendent is used for SNCOs in charge of squadron or wing level functions. Superintendents are typically Chief Master Sergeants and occasionally Senior Master Sergeants or Master Sergeants at squadron level and below. Only SNCOs will hold the duty title of Superintendent. Manager. The title of Manager, in addition to the special SNCO positions of Air Force Career Field Managers and Major Command Functional Managers, is used for NCOs and SNCOs who are program, project, and policy managers at designated Air Force levels. They may or may not have personnel working for them and may be the enlisted leader of the branch, division, or directorate. Chief. The title of Chief is used for Chief Master Sergeants who are program, project, or policy managers at designated Air Force levels. They may or may not have personnel working for them and may be the enlisted leader of the branch, division, or directorate. 7.8. Special Enlisted Positions. Airmen may serve in leadership or duty positions within or outside their functional specialty. For additional special duty positions, refer to the Air Force Enlisted Classification Directory. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. The Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, CMSAF, is the senior enlisted leader of the Air Force and takes precedence over all Air Force enlisted members. The CMSAF provides leadership to the enlisted force and advises the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Secretary of the Air Force, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Secretary of Defense on enlisted matters. The CMSAF communicates with the force, serves on boards and committees for organizations affecting airmen, testifies before Congress, and is the Air Force Career Field Manager for Command Chief Master Sergeants and Group Superintendents. The CMSAF consults with sister service senior enlisted advisors on issues affecting all enlisted members, engages with foreign military leaders regarding theater security cooperation and partnered nation development efforts, represents the Air Force to the American public, professional organizations and media, and manages the Air Force Order of the Sword program. The written abbreviation is CMSAF, and the official term of address is Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, or Chief. Note: establishing a CMSAF position was initially proposed by the Air Force Association's Airman Advisory Council in 1964. In 1966, Congressman Mandel Rivers introduced a bill that would mandate each of the services to appoint one senior enlisted member. The senior enlisted member for the Air Force would serve as a senior enlisted advisor to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. The Marine Corps had already created the position of Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps in 1957. The Army had already created the position of Sergeant Major of the Army in 1965. Although the Rivers Bill never passed, the Air Force recognized the tremendous support behind the proposal. In October 1966, Chief of Staff of the Air Force General John P. McConnell announced the newly created position of CMSAF. In April 1967, Chief Paul W. Airy became the first to wear the unique CMSAF insignia with the wreath around the star. See Attachment 5, Chief Master Sergeants of the Air Force, for a photo and brief biography of all CMSAFs. Command Chief Master Sergeant and Senior Enlisted Leader. The title of Command Chief Master Sergeant applies to the senior enlisted leader in a designated Air Force level. The equivalent to a Command Chief Master Sergeant in a combatant command or joint task force is a combatant command or task force senior enlisted leader. The Command Chief Master Sergeant or senior enlisted leader provides general supervision to the command's enlisted force and is responsible for advising commanders and staff on mission effectiveness, professional development, recognition, key enlisted airman nominations and hires, accelerated promotions, performance evaluations, military readiness, training, utilization, health, morale, and welfare of the organizations enlisted, and takes actions to address shortfalls or challenges. They also regularly visit airmen to include traveling to geographically separated units, elements, interact with sister service counterparts, serve as a liaison to and work closely with the local community, actively lead in the organization's fitness program, and ensure the enlisted force is ready to meet deployment requirements. Regular Air Force Command Chief Master Sergeants and senior enlisted leaders serve on the Enlisted Force Distribution Panel by advising the senior rater and panel on enlisted airmen's potential to serve in the next higher grade. They assist and advise in the selection and nomination of enlisted airmen for positions of greater responsibility, to include developmental special duties. The Command Chief Master Sergeant is the functional manager for group superintendents and first sergeants in their organization and performs other duties as required, directed by their commander. Note: the titles of Senior Enlisted Advisor, Senior Enlisted Leader, and Chief Enlisted Manager are only used when holding a designated and approved position. Approved use of the titles of Senior Enlisted Advisor and Senior Enlisted Leader are not always synonymous with the role of a Command Chief Master Sergeant. Air Force Career Field Manager. The title of Enlisted Air Force Career Field Manager typically applies to Chief Master Sergeants, normally located at Headquarters Air Force, responsible for organizing and managing one or more enlisted career fields. Their responsibilities include establishing career field entry requirements, managing trained personnel requirements, and developing and managing career-long training plan requirements and programs. They also construct viable career paths, evaluate training effectiveness, monitor health and manning of the career field, and provide input on manning, personnel policies, and programs. Air Force Career Field Managers also regularly visit airmen, to include traveling to geographically separated units, elements. Additionally, through the use of enlisted development teams, they execute progression and succession planning to ensure there are sufficient personnel and skill sets available to accomplish the mission. As functional experts, they ensure their career fields are responsible to both current and future needs of the Air Force. They rely heavily on collaboration and communicate directly with other Headquarters Air Force offices on issues impacting their career field and with their respective Major Command and Field Operating Agency enlisted career field representatives and training managers to disseminate Air Force and career field policies and program requirements. Major Command Functional Manager. The title of Enlisted Major Command Functional Manager applies to SNCOs who manage designated enlisted career fields and serve as the Major Command liaisons for their respective Air Force career field managers. They regularly visit organizations in the Major Command they oversee, monitor the health and manning of their career fields with their command, and elevate concerns to the Air Force career field managers. They manage command training for their career field and coordinate command training and personnel issues across their Major Command staff and with Air Force career field managers. They disseminate Air Force and career field policies and program requirements affecting their career field throughout the Major Command. They coordinate with the Air Force Personnel Center, regular Air Force only, through their Major Command to ensure proper command prioritization of allocated and assigned personnel resources. They provide functional and subject matter expertise to training managers to develop new or modify, improve existing training programs. Group Superintendent. The title of Group Superintendent applies to those who provide leadership, management, general supervision, and guidance in organizing, equipping, training, and mobilizing the organization's enlisted force to meet home station and expeditionary mission requirements. Regular Air Force superintendents may support and advise squadron commanders and superintendents prior to the enlisted force distribution panel on promotion-eligible airmen's performance and potential to serve in the next higher grade. They also assist and advise in the selection and nomination of enlisted airmen for positions of greater responsibility, to include developmental special duties. Total Force superintendents manage and direct resource activities, interpret and enforce policies and applicable directives, establish control procedures to meet mission goals and standards, and actively support and maintain robust recognition programs. They work in concert with other enlisted leaders, such as squadron superintendents and first sergeants, to oversee the readiness, training, health, morale, welfare, and quality of life of assigned personnel. They represent the commander at various meetings, visit with airmen in the group, participate on advisory councils and boards, interact with sister service counterparts as required, actively lead in the organization's fitness program, and perform other duties as directed by the group commander. Commandant. Commandants are assigned to each professional military education institution at the First Sergeant Academy. They are responsible for implementing and enforcing policies, procedures, and directives directly related to the accomplishment of the school's course of instruction. Commandants analyze data, provide direction and vision, and ensure effectiveness via curriculum evaluations, faculty, mentoring, student achievement, feedback, and contact with senior leaders. Additionally, they coordinate frequent visits from high-ranking military and civilian leadership. Enlisted Engagement Manager, International Affairs. Enlisted engagement managers plan, coordinate, and conduct enlisted engagements with partner nations on behalf of the Secretary of the Air Force International Affairs. This position operates at the Major Command and Headquarters Air Force levels. Enlisted Legislative Fellows. Enlisted Legislative Fellows are SNCOs who receive instruction and hands-on experience on Capitol Hill through education and development activities consisting of an intensive orientation of Congress, a full-time assignment to the staff of a member, committee, or support agency of Congress in Washington, D.C., and periodic seminars throughout the assignment. They write and develop research for potential legislative issues of immediate or ongoing concern to the Air Force and the nation, and are assigned to the Secretary of the Air Force Legislative Liaison. Command Chief Master Sergeant Executive Assistant. Command Chief Master Sergeant Executive Assistants perform assistant duties in support of a Command Chief Master Sergeant or Combatant Command Senior Enlisted Leader, as well as the CMSAF. They serve as personal assistants who oversee tasks requiring attention, pass pertinent data, information, and insight from the staff to the Command Chief Master Sergeant or Senior Enlisted Leader, and perform other duties as required.